Return, O virgin daughter of Israel, to these your highways by which you went. Welcome to Reunion Roadmap, a place to discover the people and communities along the highway of restoration for Israel's house of Joseph. Reunion Roadmap is a B'nai Yosef North America production. Be our guest for the next hour as we meet the people of the emerging house of Joseph here in North America. This is Stefani Pappas for B'nai Yosef North America, and with me is Al McCarn, our Executive Director, and we're going to part two in our interview with Margot Crossing from Wawa, Australia. Did I get that name of that town right?
I don't know that anyone outside of Australia can pronounce it right. Woi, as I understand.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah, we're going to get the second part of her explanation of the interconnectivity of ancient Israel in Asia symposium. It's already been held, but we were talking just before she left to go to India. It's in Aizawl, India, in the state of Mizoram, northeastern India. Whenever I talk to Margot, it's a reminder of why does B'nai Yosef North America exist? Why is it we had 3 congresses in Israel in 2015, 16, and 18 of people who are reading the scriptures and seeing the whole house of Israel is to be restored. The whole house of Israel, the house of Judah and the house of Joseph, both of them have the new covenant made with them. And how are the nations to be blessed through Israel? Well, it's because Israel was split in two. Judah remained in the covenant, in the kingdom, and therefore, Paul says, what advantage has the Jew? Much in every way, because to the Jews are given the oracles of God. And then in Romans 9, he explains the priesthood, the temple service, the covenants, the patriarchs, the adoption of sons. So if the Jewish people were not still around as the remnant of Israel, then we wouldn't have any hope whatsoever. Meanwhile, the rest of us, we're not Jewish, so we must be connected to the other house, right? I do not want to push aside my Jewish brothers and sisters and grab their inheritance. No, I want to help them secure their inheritance, because when that is done and when God has come through on his promises for them, well, then I know that for our house, our inheritance also will be secure. And it's really exciting to hear that Margot and her contacts and colleagues are taking such efforts to build momentum and to build a synergy. I look forward to having that Lost Tribes Institute library established, as she talked about. So that's where we pick up this second and concluding part of our discussion. So let's go on back to Woi, Australia, and talk some more with Margot Crossing.
And we're putting it together an online library. It's Lost Tribes Institute Library, and we're hoping to form an institute in the future where we, talking about this stuff. People can, access the library, download, all the information, the videos, the books, or and then they can upload to it as well for whatever information they find about their own people groups. And so we'll just have it in one place so that it's accessible to all people. So that's our hope.
It's ambitious, but then we serve a big God. Margot, with the current war between Israel and Hamas and the division of the world that's happening right now between those who are supporting Israel, supporting the Jewish people, and then the many who are on the other side, it brings into stark relief the fact that the greatest evidence that there is a God is the existence of the Jewish people as the remnant of the nation of Israel. Well, what about this? The continued existence of the 10 tribes and their return. What's the world going to do then about the God who comes through with his promises to Joseph and to Judah?
Okay, well, Paul puts it, it's life from the dead, Al. That's what it is.
Yes.
He says that at the end of Romans 11. It's life from the dead.
Yes, it is. Yes. And, it occurs to me that, and we can see all the way going back to biblical times what Satan has been doing to try to destroy the Jewish people, because obviously they are the visible remnant of Israel and the evidence of God's plans. And it also tells me how he's been targeting the rest of us to keep the knowledge of our existence hidden for the same reason.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
there's been a scripture verse that I've probably 3.5 years now that I have. It's just been my foundational verse that I've been meditating on. It's Psalm 22, verse 27. This is the Life version, so the Tree of Life version. All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to Adonai. All the families of the nations will bow down before you. Like, that's the verse I've been meditating on. So it's all the ends of the earth.
Yes.
All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to Adonai. And will turn to Adonai, and all the families of the nations will bow down before you. And I think the word there is mispaka, is the connected, all the connected clans. Like, this is a huge big deal, of what God's doing. And it's, and I think we're in the time of the remembrance happening. And it's no surprise that the satanic realm is going berserk at the moment, because I can tell you, people are just waking up to who they are. Like when I was in Mizoram in July, so this is the day before I'm flying out to Japan. I have 10 people drive 1 and 2 days just to see me and to show me and give me the information of, they too think, so this is not documented tribes, these are undocumented tribes in Assam, and they're going, we think our tribe also is part of the lost tribes of Israel. And and I've just gone, it's just humbling for have people, and the couple that came out of Iran that had to go back because I couldn't help them, and because their lives are at risk, like, they can't come out and say things like that because it'll put their lives at risk. And I think I contacted you at the time about that, didn't I?
Yes, we had an email exchange there, and you're so far ahead of anyone that I know on this side of the planet. So it seems that the tribes who went east and south, the recognition and the coming together is far ahead of that for those who went to the west. And I'm wondering, I know that North American native tribes, many of them understand their Israelite roots. I'm wondering if similar symposia might be in order to exchange ideas and stories and just what has been done.
Well, I think so. Yeah, and I think I really don't know very much about North Indian tribes, except I think that they came in 3 different ways, at least. So it's like some of them came across the Bering Strait. I think the Navajo did that because Richard Hewitt has a friend from that tribe, and they've got lots of things similar to the people in Kyrgyzstan. So that they're related in that way. But there's also people that came up through Mexico, up through that way, I've been told. And of course, I think some people have come across the top of the Atlantic up and around and come back down and landed in the lakes there. So so there's at least those 3 immigrations that have taken place there. And and I'm just writing a paper about the ships of Tarshish at the moment. Like, people don't realize how vast Solomon's empire was, about 1000 BC. Like, it was vast. And so he's left behind trading posts. Other Israelites, when they've had to leave for whatever reason, have, congregated around those trading posts, whether it's across the Silk Road, Carthage, Britain, and different places. And because you go somewhere and you find something that's familiar to you, so you stay there. Dr. William Liebenberg talks about, I think he spent several years in Georgia, modern Georgia, the Republic of Georgia, not your state of Georgia.
Yeah.
For you insular Americans. So Georgia's next to Armenia for the listeners, and so it's in the Caucasus Mountains. So his research was that there was lost tribes settled in Georgia in big numbers, and all became Christian. Okay, and then the Jews turned up after the expulsion of, when the temple was burnt down in 70 AD, and they settled alongside them. So you've got Jews and Christians living side by side. So the Christians are, the lost tribes, and the Jews have brought Judaism across, and they're living side by side, and they're both amicable towards each other. And so those communities still exist today in Georgia.
Well, fascinating. One thing I've seen in the last 6 weeks since the Hamas war started is a coming together of Christians and Jews. And it's not yet to the point of, we are brothers, you're the lost tribes of Israel. No, it's to the point of understanding we are in a covenantal relationship. It's basically Christian Zionism, that language, with supporting Israel and the Jewish people. But I'm still seeing that as, hey, the two sticks are being brought close together. So once we realize we are in this fight together, then it's understanding we are family. And I think not far beyond, not many steps beyond that is, we're brothers.
Yeah.
This is Ephraim. This is Joseph coming back.
Yeah, look, and I think it's going to be even bigger than that. I think there's, it won't just, it'll start with Christians and Jews, but it'll be much bigger than that, because many of the lost tribe states in Central Asia are Muslim.
Yes.
And so it's Turkey's been very clever in building mosques all across the Silk Road, the Central Asia since the Soviet Union fell. And so they've got quite a hold, in a financial and religious way, and those, because they fund, the funding goes into that. But there's still a remnant of something older, some older religion there that, I've got a friend who's from there, and her grandmother always used to pray in the name of Abraham, Isaac, and Joseph.
Oh.
Like, but she always prayed like that: Abraham, Isaac, and Joseph. That was what the prayer was, wasn't?
Well,
and they're predominantly a Muslim nation, but that's how her grandmother remembers it, and then they remember all the stories of their ancestors, and which is obviously the tribe of Manasseh. So so what's God going to do with all of that? All of that's starting to bubble underneath, and no one person is making it happen, and no one person can stop it from happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so we're living in really amazing times, and so the uprooting of ideologies and stuff around the world, with especially the war going on at the moment, is just shifting a lot of people's views and understandings of things. And so nobody will be comfortable.
Oh no, we're in transition, as great a transition as the previous two world wars.
Yeah.
And I think those of us who are looking at the kingdom promises of our God, we have a greater degree of hope and peace than most everyone else. We don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, but we know the one who does.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I just see miracle after miracle after miracle all the time with what I'm doing. It's it's just things that I couldn't make happen. Like it just and I possibly said to the listeners last time I was on, like I arrived in Chengdu in 2016 after spending I think we were in the Congress in Israel that time. And so I picked up 2 Mizzos from the state I'm going to now with the symposium, flew into Chengdu, hoping beyond hope that somehow we would be able to find our way up into the hills and find the remnants of the Chiang men, who Torrance had called Israelites 100 years ago. And I'm hoping that will happen. Well, some friends arrive from another part of China, and they've got Esther Chen's phone number, and one of her parents is from there, and she's written the book on them. And so I said to her, "Can you take me up to to see them?" She said, "Certainly I can, but I've got a 3-day conference on in 3 days, so I have to go up, see everything, and then come back." And I said, "Okay, I've got funding for it. I'll pay for everything, the cars, the hotels, and the food, whatever. Which I do." And then she says, "Would you like to come to the conference I'm putting on in Chengdu?" And I go, "What's the conference on?" She goes, "Oh, it's on the lost tribes of Israel in China." Like I can't make that happen, Al.
No, you can't.
How did I manage to be in a city of 14 million people, find the person I'm trying to find, and then be available to go to a conference I don't even know is about to happen?
Oh. Because God understood it beforehand.
Okay, yeah.
And put you there. That's got to be it.
Yeah. So that's right. And so those sorts of things happen to me all the time. And so it's just God's just doing this. He's just rolling this out. If we've got a wrong view of what he's doing, won't matter. It's still going to happen anyway. So,
Amen.
And we're part of some huge, movement in history that's bringing together all of the prophecies for, a few millennia. They're literally going to be happening in our lifetimes.
Absolutely. Oh, I was just in Israel this summer and talking to our Jewish contacts of the prophetic things that are coming about now, such as a rose blooms in the desert. Well, there's the rose. We're in the desert of Judea, and many other things that they're out there walking the land and seeing it come to life. And you're talking about other prophecies that you are seeing and that are going to be increasing, I'm sure, in days to come, coming out of the blue, just to surprise us all because we're not looking for it.
Yeah. And so one of the things that Howard Chung says, he feels that the coming together between Israel and Judah, he sort of feels it won't be happening so much until the coming together of Ephraim actually happens. And so he sees it coming, which is why he's written the book on Europe and Asia. Like he's seeing that the Eurasian continent needs to come together with the understanding of Israel in the context of the Israel tribes all through that area, into all the Saxons, the Alans, the Visigoths, all of the stuff. I mean, Europe's got lots of history.
Yes.
And to sort of push back on some of the things that we in the East we've got it better than you. I don't think that's true. I think the Western countries understood it really well in the 1800s. Yeah, like I have lots and lots of old books written by Christians in the 1800s who well understood the lost tribes and were looking for the lost tribes. So that's I just think I think in the West, I put myself in the West. I think in the West we've just forgotten something that's fairly recent for us, and so it won't take much to get that back, Al.
No, I don't think so. Personally, it didn't take much for me. Just a couple of years of reading the accounts and looking at the scriptures and saying, yes, that does fit my profile. Okay, or I fit that. So
yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm actually trying to finish a couple of papers and presentation, and I'm flying out in less than 2 days. So I'm going to say goodbye, but I will do another interview with you in when I come back in about 2.5 weeks. Yeah.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing the report of the conference or the symposium.
Okay,
so
I'll have links when we put that up. I'll have links to the book of the symposium, the videos of the symposium, and so anybody interested will be able to upload those from my Dropbox and watch them at their leisure and rada. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. So thank you, Margot Crossing of Lost Tribes Found blog, and thank you for, as we would say in America, carrying the ball for us.
I don't think I'm doing that. You're all doing a really great job over there too.
We're all doing what we are given to do. So Godspeed, and look forward to talking to you when you come back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I look forward to it too. Okay, thanks, Al. Thanks for taking the call.
And now, Rejoice Israel by Jimmy Black from his album Freedom.
Rejoice, O Israel, for Yahweh is your name. Rejoice, O Israel, for the Lord is your light, and salvation is from him. Your redemption draws near. Israel, Israel, Israel.
What you're about to hear is part 2 of a 2-part midrush on exile for restoration. Your descendants are going to go into all the earth. And that means they're going to look different, going to have some different ideas and thoughts and cultures and different things, even though their identity truly is Israel, though they don't really know that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Barry, but it was like that just took me right back to that when you said that.
I'm also thinking of this. In Matthew 3, Yochanan the Immerser, John the Baptist, is coming, and this is his message. Matthew 3, verse 2, repent, for the reign of the heavens has come near. And it's almost like, the old theory of Planet X is going to come by so close to the earth that inhabitants of X is going to jump off and land on the earth and that kind of thing. I don't know if you remember that or not, but early 2000s, that was a great preaching tool in conspiracy theory.
Right.
And the kingdom of heaven has come near. Exactly how did that happen? Well, the reality, I read that this morning, and that's that Yeshua is the reign of the heavens. He is the sovereign of the heavens. And he is at hand. He's nearby. So there is this reality check. If you will repent, the kingdom is right here. Well, the process was, he says, the axe is laid to the root of the trees, and if you're not bearing good fruit, you're going to get cut down. He says that his winnowing fork is in his hand. He's going to cleanse his threshing floor. He's going to do this separation. You're talking about the sheep that were being put under the rod. When we talk about the kingdom, when we talk about the bringing of the tribes together, Yaakov, or now becoming Israel and bringing his family back home, is a prophetic picture of the restoration of the houses of Israel and Yehuda coming back together, being in the land together. That's a kingdom picture. This is about restoration. The purpose of exile is to separate, but in the process of separations, there's multiplication. So we have division and multiplication in exile. And then you add them back together to a greater whole. It's the picture of cells and the body. They divide and reestablish themselves as separate cells that will divide and establish again. Yah is all about dividing things and then restoring it. That's what's happened in the houses of Am Israel. He's divided us to multiply us and then add us back together. Yeshua says, or Yochanan is preaching and saying, when this one comes who is the reign of the heavens and he's close by, he's going to sift, he's going to separate, he's going to infuse with fire and the Ruach HaKodesh. You have to repent and present yourselves to the right side of the equation. So Esau is the factor that we have to consider here, in that he comes to oppress, to prevent the processes that Yah is trying to establish. And we can do like Yaakov initially thought, I'm going to appease him with gifts, but ultimately he also prayed, deliver me from him.
Yes.
Father, deliver me from him, because if he has his way, he will destroy the mother and the children. He will establish the assembly, the mother, and all of the children that are a part, the inhabitants of the assembly. We cannot allow Esau to have his way.
If that would have happened, he would have effectively cut off the line of Israel, not lion, the line, the descendants of
the lineage,
Israel. Yes. Because if we can see this picture in Israel, it was more than a statement. In Israel, is the entire body of the people of Yaakov, the entire embodiment of it. None of the matriarchs or patriarchs by themselves can fulfill the picture of Israel. They all have to work together. And even in Israel, we have the names of all the matriarchs and patriarchs, every one of them. If we take Israel, it's Yod, Sin, Resh, Aleph, Lamed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you take the Yod, we have Israel, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. The Sin is Sarah, the Resh is Rivka and Rachel, the Aleph is Avraham, and the Lamed is Leah. Every one of the matriarchs and patriarchs are in Israel. That's not just a statement. It's literally said by the name itself.
Right.
And so when we can see the picture of all these parts are needed to be one. We understand, when Yaakov wrestled with the angel, this was a battle of identity. Not with the angel, with himself. I mean, this was a battle of identity. He was unsure of who he was, and he knew what God said, but was God really going to deliver? He was unsure of himself and in all of these things. And as Yahweh changed his identity from Yaakov to Israel, he's the same guy, but Yahweh is reconfirming all these promises to him, and it's saying in these promises, you can see everything I'm going to do for you. And I find it very interesting that after his meetup with Esau, which some of the midrashes state that Esau, which was called Edom, right? That Herod was descended from Edom and Rome was built from Edom. So that's another interesting avenue. But right after he met with him, he went to Shechem, which was the Valley of Decision, so to speak. We have Mount Gerizim and Mount Aval and Shechem, which was right in between the two, which is where Yahweh, when he brought them out of Mitzrayim and into the land, they were supposed to first go to Shechem and set the covenant in place in Shechem, right there.
Yes.
And to proclaim the blessings and the cursings of the covenant right there and stand in between them, where you can see not just the declaration, but the benefits and the results of the blessing and the cursing, and how all these things, to choose which way you're going to go, which path you're going to be set on. So on your return back into the land, and though we struggle with identity, when we come to the realization of who we are, we come to this place of Shechem for ourselves and for our life. And we look at Mount Gerizim and Mount Aval, and we're in this valley of decision. I always find that interesting because Shechem also means like between the shoulders, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so you have blessing on one shoulder and cursing on the other shoulder. And forgive me for this, Barry, but you remember those old cartoons where you have a devil on the shoulder and an angel on the other?
Yeah.
This has to be where that picture came from.
It has to be. Yeah. A lot of the cartoon writers were indeed Jewish. So, I mean, it would have been within their wheelhouse to think that. I want to take you down a little trail here of difference.
Okay.
You were talking about the one that Yaakov wrestled with was the angel of the Lord, or Yeshua. I have a different take. I believe it was the spirit of Esau. Now, don't throw rocks at me. Just hear me out, folks. Just listen a second. The entity that he wrestled with, I believe, was wrestling with him for the title Israel. That's what Esau really wanted. That's what Yaakov needed. Is the claim to the title Israel, the covenant fulfillment. And when it says that he saw him as the face of Elohim, Elohim can mean the Elohim, or it can mean a mighty one. The end result of the wrestling match is a relinquishing of this Esau's spirit's claim on the title of Israel, and where he confirms, you are Israel. You have wrestled with me. You have prevailed against me. I acknowledge that you are indeed Israel. Another reason that I see this is that Esau's entire temperament went from warfare and annihilation to brokenness and acceptance. And that's because the spiritual battle affected the natural consequence the next morning. How that fits now is that there is a spiritual claim among some congregations. We are Israel. We have the title. We have replaced you. Current world events, however, is exposing the spirit of anti-Semitism even within some of those ranks, not all, but among some. There is a wrestling match taking place right now, the same as with Yaakov, and this, as I said, my belief is the spirit of Esau. But ultimately, there will be the relinquishing of that claim and that title and the reestablishment of the understanding this people is actually Israel. We no longer have any claim or title to that. Just a different take, just a different way of looking at it.
That's a good midrash, and I've read some things along those lines before. The biggest reason why I still hold to the fact that it was probably probably Yeshua, was I didn't think that Esau would be in a place to bless him. You know, you can't give what you don't have. And if he was wanting him to bless him, then, well, his dad already gave him that. And then he makes the declaration. He said, "I've seen the face of God. My life has been spared." And he named the place Peniel, which means the face of God. And then he turned and he traveled past Peniel. And then right as he does this, he said that the sun rose upon him as he crossed over, turning his face toward El, turning his face toward Yah. The implication, either way you go with that, is everything that lies ahead is in the hands of God. Because that promise of when you come back to the land and you will be this great many people, like the stars in the sky, the sand on the seashore, all of this, that hasn't happened yet. He had 12 sons, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that many. I mean, by our standards today, that's a lot, right?
Right.
But that's not stars in the heaven. That's not sand on the seashore.
Not
So
yet.
he had to trust God in saying that, much like how Isaac had to lay his life down on the altar, saying, okay, but if the promise is going to come through me, through Isaac, how's this going to happen if I end up dying? So if this is going to happen, then God's going to have to resurrect me. And God provided the ram, which we know symbolically lifted him up off of that. But same thing here with Yaakov. If this is the blessing that God himself, I'm the God of your father Abraham, the God of your father Isaac, but he's now at this point of being shown to him, I am your God. Because before he went off, remember, he said, if God is with me, and just basically, I'm going to paraphrase the prayer, give me my daily bread, then I will return to Bethel and I will bless God and I will give him a tithe of everything and everything. Well, Yahweh has given him this and he has increased him, and he's now in the process of bringing him home in a place of restoration. And in the process of returning home and restoration, he has to struggle with Esau. And now that he has met them, now he needs to continue forward into the land.
My last thought on this, David, is that after the match of wrestling, it affected his walk.
Yes.
His walk was forever changed. So ever how we fit in this exile process, ever how we are a part of the inclusion of the tribes, it has to affect our walk. We cannot be as we have been before.
And it was a noticeable difference.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
It wasn't symbolic. It was a noticeable difference. I wonder what his footprints in the sand look like. I digress.
Yes. Well,
maybe
folks,
you should close us out.
We appreciate you tuning in and listening, and we appreciate your comments and questions. So if you'd like to contact us, you can do so at reunionroadmap@B'naiYosefNA.com.
All right, that'll do us. That will end up being 2.
Awesome.
Here's Mason Clover with I Am Yisrael from his album An Intimate Look, available at masonclover.com.
Right now's a good time. Bombs ring outside my window. Though I'm 1,000 miles away, they're rising up against us. For we live in those days. I am Israel. I am Israel. The skin color doesn't define us. Neither does where we live. We're all seeds scattered amongst nations. Yes, we're all His kids. I am Israel. I am Israel. Shema Israel, Adonai, Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Yekar. Baruch Shem Kevo, Mahuto Leolam, Mahuto Leolam Vayet Shema, Shema Yisrael, Yisrael. Baruch Shem Kevo, Mahuto Leolam, Mahuto Leolam Vayet Shema. Israel, Shema, 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 oh Israel. Shema, Israel.
More music about Hebraic Israel identity. That was Mason Clover, I Am Israel. And Jimmy Black earlier was singing Rejoice Israel from, I think that's from one of his first albums. And then we got the second and concluding part of the Midrash, Exile for Restoration. Stefano, what were the highlights that you heard from Barry and David this time around?
Well, I think this whole idea of how Jacob needed to go into exile, and then he had to go into that exile in order to be restored. And when he gets restored, he's getting restored by being given a new name, and he's wrestling. More than likely, that is the pre-incarnate Yeshua right there that he's wrestling with, and he's given that name Israel, and to find out that in that name Israel, you have all the initials, first initials of his two patriarchs, his father Yitzhak, and then Abraham, and also Rachel, and also Leah are right in the name Israel. And so it's like,
oh, and Sarah and Rivka also.
And Sarah, let me forget that. I don't want to forget Sarah and Rivka as well. All the matriarchs. Okay, so you have that in there in the name Israel, which speaks about a restoration in the whole name, and so much. It's amazing.
Yeah, I once asked one of my Jewish friends, what's the real translation, or can you give me a good translation for the name Israel? And he said, well, that's like a day's teaching. I still haven't gotten the teaching. I think I need to go back and twist his arm a little bit. But it's true. This whole faith walk, whether we're talking about the genuine believing Christian, the one who takes the scripture seriously, or the observant Jew. And by the way, we inherited and received it from our Jewish brethren, or the older brother. This whole faith walk is about being perfected through trials and sufferings. God refines us through the trials as silver is refined. It's scriptural. Jacob going to Padan Aram and spending 20 years there, going through all kinds of troubles, and coming back, husband and father and successful businessman, and man who sees that everything that he has accomplished and everything he has become, it's all about to be wiped away by his brother Esau. So this is the completing of the restoration part, is he trusts God alone and sees that is his only help. That's where both houses of this nation are supposed to get to, I think, before our exile is completely done. And that's one thing I very much appreciate from this Midrash. We could talk so much more about this, but we have run out of time. So let me invite you all again, if you have not visited our website, please do, BneiYosefNA.com, BneiYosefNA.com. Check out our resources, check out our donate button, and do partner with us if you're so moved. It would honor us greatly and help us to bless many others. So on behalf of Tzefania Pappas, Barry Phillips, and David Jones, this is Al McCarn. Shavua Tov.
Thank you for joining us on Reunion Roadmap, a production of B'nai Yosef North America. Please come back next week for another visit with the people of the emerging house of Joseph here in North America.